Welcome to the Whole Food Vegan Podcast.
Exciting vegan food, no crap, no agenda.
Helping you enjoy a wonderfully varied, tasty, easy to prepare and nutritious whole food plant-based diet.
Simple tip, easy recipes and helpful hints on how to get more enticing vegan meals into your diet. Usually recorded after a bottle of Merlot on a Friday night.
So, welcome Ed and Jane to the Whole Food Vegan Podcast.
Welcome.
It's so good to see you guys.
So good to see you.
So good to be here.
It's amazing when you see someone on a website and you kind of like, oh, I wonder what they're like in real life. And then you actually get to see people. It is really cool.
Nice.
It
It is.
Cool.
So tell us a little bit about yourselves. It would be really interesting to kind of know a little history and how you came, I think, firstly to be vegan, and then secondly, how did you get into sort of the business of food and vegan?
You want me to go for it?
Yeah.
Okay, so a little bit about me. I was born in the Caribbean in St. Lucia. So for me, food is pretty big. From cooking on the beach to cooking in the back to the farm, cooking was just a big part of my life growing up. My parents had restaurants throughout my childhood. So for me, food has been an integral part of my life from I can remember. I can even remember the first time I had marshmallows, which is like, I don't know, I was like maybe 5 years old, 4 years old or something like that. So food's pretty big for me. And I think how I got into the business was, like I said, my parents were into the restaurant business, but I just fell in love with food even more to the point where I wanted to learn how to make it. So I went to culinary school in New York, traveled the world, learned in a lot of different continents and learned from a lot of different cultures and was just able to bring that back home. And I think in terms of what made us become vegan was one day we sat down with our three kids and we decided to watch What the Health. And prior to that, we were just not really very big on eating a ton of meat anyway. Like we were very heavy on having a well-balanced meal and lots of vegetables, that kind of thing. So it wasn't super hard to get off of meat or anything of the sort. It just took some time. Obviously, for everyone, it's different. But after watching What the Health, we decided that the kids actually, and the oldest was maybe 8, I think, at that
Oh, so they
time.
were quite young.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
were quite young. And they were just like, Daddy, Mommy, we can't eat meat anymore. We can't eat the animals. We can't do it. And we're like, all right, all right. We kind of facilitated that whole transition and they kind of helped us along the way.
Big
And,
time.
we would have our cheat days when we just switched and, we went and we snuck and had a few bites of fish or something
And
like
we
that.
and we got called out by them.
Yeah, because, they smelled it, or they found it bad. And,
Brilliant.
but that's kind of what brought us into the whole world of being vegans. And we just ran with it from since then and never looked back.
Mm, mm.
Right.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm a Nigerian. I'm born and raised Nigerian. I went to college in London. I was in London for about my freshman, sophomore year. Loved it, by the way. It was amazing. And I moved to the US, met Chef in New York. New York food. We fell in love over food, restaurant, hopping and all the different cultures. I was a manager at a shoe store. He was a chef at a very, very cool restaurant. And we just connected over food. And we've been married now 15 years. So food has been our love story, our love language. But I'm excited now, after being vegan, we decided to take our food journey, go the vegan route, which in the beginning, I didn't know how I was going to go because as a Nigerian, it's a heavy meat diet that I was like, there's no way I can give that up. But on this journey of learning, actually unlearning what I knew about food to literally starting as a baby, watching my 2-year-old at the time, he was 2. Edward was
Yeah.
2. just watching him deciding that he didn't want to eat meat anymore based on what he just saw. Like, I'm like, if he can process it at 2, I'm the adult. Like, I should be, like,
Mm.
it didn't make any sense to him. So I saw food from his eyes of, why would you want to hurt an animal, or why would we want to eat something that we just saw as bad for us? So it was really a great journey for us from his perspective. That gave me a lot of strength because it was, for me, it was in my head, it was difficult. I'm like, what?
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
but just learning about food, in my opinion, the right way, the healthy way,
I
the
think
the
there's
way.
so much that we can learn from children.
Yes,
But
exactly.
they're not being childish, but being childlike, and that childlike innocence
Hmm.
where we grow up as adults and we're conditioned to think in certain ways and eat certain foods, and we create our own normal. Whereas a child, they're a blank canvas, and it's great that they hold you to account, you know.
It
Yeah.
was amazing. I didn't realize fish smelled like that, or meat. When you stop eating it, and we're like, oh, we're just gonna do a little snacky snack. And they were like, we smell it.
Ah,
And another
excellent.
reason I'm like, if I can smell it, like, what is it doing inside my body? Like, so
Mm.
it just got, we started to question everything.
Yeah.
And it's in questioning everything we realized that, wait a minute, we're never going back. Like, this is not good for us. This is not how we want to live. This is not going to help us. So
Mm,
we
yeah.
became vegans.
I mean, one of the things that happened to me is that I accidentally became vegan. I didn't set out on a journey to do it, and it's interesting to get everybody else's story because, I
Mhm.
mean, you're very fortunate, Ed, that you're a chef or you can cook or you can convert things, and I know that's something we're going to talk about. But for most
Yeah.
families with 3 kids or whatever, they're going to go, okay, now what? Now what do I do? So you had
Yeah.
some kind of, I don't know, training on how to deal with those kind of things. I guess it's like permanently having a guest in the restaurant who can't eat meat or fish or dairy, and you just have to, switch it in your head.
I know
Yeah.
when my children were young, the standard meal was either fish fingers out of a packet or chicken nuggets and chips.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's your go-to? That like we just chuck it in the oven. It's really quick, really easy. It's the end of a stressful day. The kids just want comfort food, but you can't use chicken nuggets. What do you do?
Ha, that's
Hummus.
hummus pita is pretty good go-to. And I think for us, we realized that that would be a problem very early on. So we started meal prepping and batch cooking a lot of things like sauces and beans and stuff like that. So it's very easy for us to come home, even if we were sort of on a time crunch, to be able to pull something out of the fridge that's kind of already almost
Mm,
cooked, if not fully cooked. And then it's just a matter of creating one more side or a dish just to kind of make that whole thing come together. But for quick meals, we started, like Jane said, the
Hummus.
hummus, pita, really good pita,
Oh yeah, and you
tons
can
of
change it up with a little
radishes,
yeah, put a little razzle dazzle.
yeah, I got some fresh olives, it's the stuff like that. That I think
Yeah.
that's like the, chicken nuggets slash fish sticks equivalent
Put
for
a
us.
little smoked paprika.
Yeah.
yum.
Well, if interesting, you mentioned spices. That was one of our questions. You wrote a blog post
Yeah.
about developing signature or using spices to create signature flavors. So
Yes.
I'm guessing you use some of your signature flavors in this. As you say,
Yeah.
spice up the hummus with some paprika. Just tell us a bit
100%.
about those spices and creating that sort of signature that someone on the street could do from their own store cupboard.
100%. So the cool thing about cooking, I tell my clients and I just tell people in general, is that it's a blank canvas. So you're basically cooking. I tell people to cook with what they feel, right? So if you're familiar with certain ingredients, then that's where you start. Don't feel pressure into creating something that you've never done before, right? Or you don't really understand those flavor profiles. So starting where you know and then branching out, I think is the easiest way to go about it. But for me, it's, let's say I want to do Spanish flavored whatever it is, then I'm using things like Mexican oregano, cumin, coriander, right? Those kind of spices, chilies, chipotle, right? So it's understanding the basis for any particular culture where there's always a set of ingredients that each culture has that's predominantly, if you hear it, you know, like for instance, Asian, you know that they're using scallions, sesame oil, sesame seeds, soy sauce, so ginger, right? So automatically you can sort of create dishes or at least create flavor profiles based on the fact that you know what a particular culture uses for their flavors, right? So for me, just grabbing seasonings at home and like right now, anyone's pantry, you're gonna have things like garlic powder, onion powder, salt, pepper, maybe cumin, coriander, like your basic spices. So you can always take those and play with them and create your own little spice mixes based on seasonings that you like, or the ones
Mhm.
that you favorite the most, right?
I think for me, it would be, for you, it's a canvas and it's creative and it's amazing. For me, I just want to get in and get out for the most part with the kids. So for me, the quick dishes that have saved my life are, for example, in the summer, watermelon, right? There's like different ways you can just enjoy a watermelon snack, which can convert to lunch.
Mhm.
You have slices of watermelon, you can put a little soy sauce or, any kind of like vinaigrette that you enjoy. You just drizzle it over it with a little mint.
Add some
It just
tomatoes.
looks so good. And you
Yeah.
do the pop rocks that you add to it. The kids love it because it explodes in their mouth. It's like like it's a dish. Like pop rocks,
Seaweed,
seaweed, or not, like you wrap
watermelon.
watermelon in seaweed, it's a dish. It is.
It,
You don't need
it's
anything else.
delicious. It's
You don't
delicious.
need anything else. Like literally, it
So,
tastes so good.
so my question would be, Ed, if you're cooking for work and then you come home and you have to cook for the family, does that ever get boring?
No, it doesn't get boring because I like to eat. And if I'm at work cooking and I didn't eat, then when I come home, I have to eat. So I don't
Okay.
mind cooking. But for me, it's always, okay, what am I creating? What am I making this time? Because it's always exciting because I use it as an opportunity to create something new or something different. And I would say 9 out of 10 times it works.
Hmm.
There might be 1 or 2 times where, it might not come out the way we think it would come out, but for the most part, it's always enjoyable. So we just kind of go with the flow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm. I understand. Yep.
Yeah.
So, what would you say is one of your favorite dishes to make for something that you've made and you're really proud of it? And
Uh,
yeah.
okay. I think when we went to India, we had this rice noodle dish that was really amazing. And it was made with rice stick noodles that they puffed up and then they literally turned it into a salad. So it's tons of cucumbers, peppers, fresh cilantro, you know, um, fried shallots, just really delicious, very clean, very herbaceous
Very
salad.
yummy.
And
Mm.
we went back like 3 nights in a row to get it.
It
So when I
was good.
came back home, we recreated our version of it, and
Yeah,
the kids, they love it. Everyone loves it when they
so
try
good.
it. So I would say
Okay.
that one,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Wow. And Jane, what would your favorite dish be that if you could choose for Ed to make you something or you made yourself, what would you go to?
And I think it's your breakfast sandwich.
Mm.
Because that was the first dish he ever made me when I met him.
Mm.
Go on, tell
Um,
us about that.
it was amazing. I met him in New York and we're dating. And I think it was the first night that you stayed over.
Yeah.
And the next morning, I smelled this amazing like smell. I didn't know what it was. And I'm like, let's make it. So I'm like, okay, even if it doesn't taste good, I'm still gonna, enjoy it because the thought is all that counts. I did not expect it to be so amazing. It was so good that I couldn't stop talking about it. And I think I remember saying in my heart, I remember saying, this is definitely my husband. I have to marry him. I
all,
do.
all because of breakfast. So what
It just,
what's
it was
what's
amazing.
what was this breakfast?
It's English
It
muffin
was a toasted English muffin with bacon,
avocado.
eggs, avocado, mayonnaise. Very simple, just
But I'd never had anything like it was just I didn't understand how something so simple because of how particular he is with there's a certain temperature, there's a certain how he wants it to be toasted. Like everything was just so calculated for such a simple dish. And when I tasted it, I'm like, that's why it needs to be a certain way. It was amazing. It was so good.
Oh.
Interestingly, you say about that, and one of the things that's in that breakfast is bacon.
Yes.
Yes.
And one of the things that bacon gives is this mouth feel and
Yep.
how how stuff feels in your mouth. And
Mhm.
I know lots of vegans or particularly people kind of vegan curious, wondering about thinking, well, how do you get that same mouthfeel just from a load of vegetables? So you've
Great
got a
question.
secret, haven't you? I can see the look on
Yeah.
your face. There's a trick.
That's a good
Yeah.
question. And what's even crazy about that is when he made me that breakfast, we were not vegans at the
Clearly,
time.
yeah.
So I remember when we became vegans, I'm like, can you recreate that? He did, nailed it. It's even better. I'll let him tell
Oh,
what he used.
So for bacon, there's a few things that we play around with at home. There's one, the tofu option, of course, where it's just slicing the tofu very thinly, but is the dressing for the tofu, right? It's a combination of liquid smoke, smoked paprika, soy sauce, maple syrup, lots of fresh cracked black pepper. Those kind of flavors really give you that bacon flavor.
Oh,
And then the
thank
fact
you.
that then after I marinate the tofu, I bake it so it becomes crispy
Yes.
around the edges and the outside, and then sort of chewy on the middle. So automatically that gives you that bacon kind of mouthfeel that a lot
Hmm.
of people crave. And then one of the other options we'll do for bacon is lion's mane mushrooms, right? So with
mm,
lion's mane, if you get like a solid big piece, you can press it and marinate it. And when you slice it, it literally looks like bacon because the outside is nice and reddish brown, and then inside have the layers of white and the color from the marinade. So, and it fries up crispy. It's insane.
So
So,
good.
those two options will definitely give you the most amazing mouthfeel and flavor for a bacon substitute. Yeah.
wow.
And how did you replace the egg? What do you do instead of that?
I'm glad you asked that question. So, just egg, right? It's like the
Oh
most
yeah,
popular,
yeah, we get that. Yeah.
egg out there. So I made my own version of it because I was just trying to stay away from all the chemicals and just, the super processing of something like that, right? To be able to bring to market. So if you take this particular type of lentil called mung bean or mung dal,
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
it's literally what they use, and just for soaking that for 24 hours and then blending it with water, spices, a little bit of, calamine manak, or, like black salt,
Yep.
the, very sulfuric salt. And you don't even need to go that route. Just literally salt and pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, things like that, smoked paprika. It literally replaces that just egg. It comes out exactly the same way. So you can now make omelets, you can now make folded eggs, you can do like the
Mm.
McDonald's style
Right.
eggs. I mean, you can do all with scrambled eggs. So it's like you don't
Wow.
miss the only
There
thing
is
I
a
don't, huh?
there's an Indian dish, and I forget the name of it. It's exactly the same. So I've done that. I've got mung beans,
Yeah.
soak them overnight, blitz them in the morning with some
Yep.
cumin in it,
Yes.
and then fry it very, very thin, and it
Yeah.
Yeah.
almost goes like a almost like a bread, and you can use it to mop up a
Yes.
curry, but it's very, very thin. So you bake it more like a scramble, do you? Keep it going.
Yeah, so there's a few ways I cook it. If I'm doing a scrambled egg version, then it's just, moving it around. But let's say I wanted to do like if I was to do a sunny side up egg without the yolk, obviously just a flat, crispy around the edges, then it's pouring some into a really hot pan and just kind of moving the pan around so it runs almost like if you're doing crepes,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
Where you don't want
yeah.
this really super thick center or, anywhere. And by doing that, you get this really nice layer that you can then fold over, make ribbons, or, just create this nice disc that you can then cut circles. I mean, you can
Wow.
have so much fun with it. Yeah.
So
I've just had my tea and they're making me hungry.
Guess what you've got
I'm
for breakfast tomorrow?
Excellent.
Yeah.
So I know that you both believe in food having therapeutic properties, and I'm totally with you on that. I know there are a lot of people who have a vegan diet that isn't particularly healthy, and
Yeah.
just by, talking to people that trying to be vegan, they really struggle. I'm interested to know more about what you think about the power of vegan food is, because I know for me it's given me loads more energy, and I know that it's made me very aware of healthy cooking techniques as well as healthy recipes? What would you guys say is important to you about the health benefits?
I think for me, the number one health benefit of going vegan is not even something, well, I'm going to try to be, I'm going to try to articulate this the best. It's the awareness that it's brought me. Like, because when you become vegan, you read everything, you watch everything, you're asking more questions. When I wasn't vegan, I go to a restaurant, I order what I need to order, and that was it. But now I'm like, so what is in it? What's in the sauce? How do you, like, I need to know, so I know if I can eat it or not. So it's given me an overall awareness that I feel like I lacked in, around food. And because I am aware of my food, I'm aware of labels, and even now with even hair products, so it's given me an unshakable awareness of whatever it is that's going into my body. I have to know what's in it. And if I can't spell it, pronounce it, I have to research it. So
Yeah.
that awareness has taken me, saved my life, I'm sure, but it's helped me just wake up to my own health. And that has changed me mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And then it's helped my self-confidence because I now care so much about what I put in my body.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
body is amazing now. It's precious. I know what's in it. I take time and energy and strategy to be careful with what goes in it. So when I walk into a room, I got my head up high. My chest is out. Like, I have confidence in, because I take care of myself. So that's the part that I didn't know would come with it, but
Oh,
has
that's
come with
interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
I,
Mm.
I and I think to add to that too, for me, one thing I notice a lot is also by being vegan, you're kind of more aware of your body.
Yeah.
And the minute you introduce something into your body internally that's not good for you, immediately. Like
yeah.
before, I felt when we ate meat and dairy, there was like this blockage of that sense to yourself,
Yeah.
that internal sense. So it's like now anything that creates mucus in your body, like automatically, like because you're not normally like that.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So I think
I
for me,
agree.
that was a big thing. And then just the fact that by being vegan, you're able to, like you said, reading labels is
Oh
super
my
important, right?
gosh.
Before we would just order whatever because you weren't thinking about like everything is edible, whatever you're eating. But now, because we're vegan, it's like you're reading the
I have
labels
to read
because
everything.
there's so many things that are actually being put into food
Like,
that it's
this may
just,
cause death. I'm like, death?
that literally that's not good for you. So I feel because when people are not vegan, they kind of miss an opportunity to just educate themselves
Ugh,
more about what they're actually feeding themselves or their
Mm.
family. So
Mm.
the fact that you're vegan and you have to read the labels, you're actually seeing things that might not have been visual to you
mhm.
prior
Yeah.
to,
Mm.
I mean,
being on that
it
journey.
must be really difficult for someone who is so good at preparing food and so good at throwing recipes together and working
Yeah.
out the kind of structure of the recipe and the meal to go out and eat, because I know that we struggle with that sometimes. We can cook. So when we
Yeah.
go out, often it's quite disappointing. You must have that even worse.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. There are some places where like you go out and you eat, and I feel like I wasted the calories. I feel like I've eaten, and then it's like there
Because
was
I
just
could have eaten
no,
something good.
yeah, like there was no
Yeah.
enjoyment, So, but because of that, we're very choosy where we go to eat,
Very
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
because
the same.
Yeah, we are as
you
well. We
know,
don't eat out very often, but when we do,
yeah,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
the places where it's
yeah.
guaranteed it's gonna be amazing food, and I
Mm.
think one of the places for that is like Indian food,
Oh,
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
it's guaranteed that you're gonna,
tea good.
you know what I mean? Chinese food, Asian
Yeah.
food,
Indian food. Yes.
so
Yeah,
there's certain
definitely.
cultures where
Certain
it's like,
foods, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's guaranteed, and then there's some you're like, we'll take over, we'll see.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to veggie back to what you said about what Sue said about, a lot of vegans coming onto the vegan scene, which is great. We want more vegans. We want, we try to encourage the lifestyle as much as we can. But marketing now, the food industry has again found a way to market being vegan from a box,
Hmm.
right?
Mm.
Yeah.
So I think for us, I feel like we were box vegans in the beginning because we
I
were
think
like
most people
most people
are.
are. It's an interesting introduction, with
Yeah.
everything else, but to understand that you need to quickly transition to a more whole food diet,
Yeah.
not just based on the words, just based on this is also processed. This is actually just as
Even
bad
those
or
vegetables.
worse.
Yeah.
But so letting people understand what processed food is, just like what you said, talked about the just egg, and you were like, okay, I like this, but I know I can't continue to eat this. I
Yeah.
want to transition to a more plant-based diet. And this is why Chef wrote a book. The first book he wrote was called Vegan-ish, because that's where we were.
Yeah.
We were still exploring, because we felt like veganism was a bit intimidating at first because we're like, what is this lifestyle thing? Like, you can't eat eggs? What?
And then you have the
Yeah.
purists that are like, will put you in this box if
If
your
you,
car has leather seats,
yeah,
or you can choose, because obviously they're the extremists, and then then there's the regular people.
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I think for us, in terms of what Jane was saying, we were very heavy on Clubhouse, during COVID, and there were a lot of vegan rooms, and you could just feel how they made people feel, which was
Yeah.
just not really good. You know what
Yeah,
I
it's
mean?
discouraging for
Yeah,
someone because a lot of people, like what Sue said, a lot of people want to do it. It's just not as easy to
yeah.
do
Or they
it.
don't
Yeah.
know.
And
Yeah, and I
someone,
think it's a bit like when you leave home and you start cooking, you're cooking everything out of a box, aren't you? It's
Yeah,
exactly the same thing. You just
college.
learn. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's just a learning process and it's a
Sure.
exactly.
mindset. If you
Yeah.
go into it saying, "Oh, it's going to be really difficult," well, it ends up being really difficult. And that's how it was for us in the beginning. We're like, "Oh my God, I don't know." And he's like, "I've cooked meat for 25 years. What?" But I think when we changed our mindset, when we decided that, okay, do you want to eat to live or eat to die? As hard as it was, that was a decision that had to be made. That's a decision you make every time with your fork. That's a
Hmm.
decision you make. You want to live or you want to die. And I think when we understood that to be okay, it's really not a choice anymore. I want to live, right? How can we make this enjoyable? How can we make
Hmm.
it fun? How can we make it easier? How can we do it where it doesn't take too much time? So, yeah.
So you've written books, I understand. So tell us a little bit about your books and your courses that you do for people who want to learn to cook, because obviously that's a great starting point.
Yes, yes. So when we decided to go vegan, and like Jane said, we created this whole movement of being veganish because we wanted to meet people where they were on their
I
journey,
love that.
right? So we did the first book, Veganish, which was just me compiling a few of my favorite recipes from different parts of the world, from my travels growing up. And then the second book we created, we got a lot of feedback from the first book, and people that were on the journey was having a very difficult time doing breakfast.
Yeah.
So, being vegan and doing breakfast, and the mindset that I try to help people get into is leave America, leave the continental breakfast, and go travel the world.
Yeah,
Breakfast in Japan is miso soup.
absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
breakfast in China is dumplings. It's
Exactly.
dim sum. So, breakfast in Africa
It's
is ground
plantains.
provisions. You know what I mean? So it's like being able to just expand your horizons in
Love
terms
it.
of cultures will allow you to see that breakfast doesn't have to
Yes.
be
Yeah.
bacon and sausages and bagels and the traditional continental breakfast, toast and stuff like that. So, the breakfast vegan book came about, and then the third book we wrote was a Nigerian cookbook, which is unheard of because
Wow.
Nigerian culture is just full of meat, and I loved it. When we went to Nigeria, I mean,
We told them we were vegans.
they all,
My uncles literally looked at me. I'm like, ah! They were pointing and laughing at me. I
yeah.
was like, no, seriously. They're like, there's no way.
Yeah, it's unheard of. So we wanted to prove to people
That you
that
can.
you can have amazing Nigerian food and it be vegan. And now when family members that are Nigerian come over and they try the food, they're like, wow, they can't
That's
believe
what
that it's
happened to us. Yeah,
Yeah,
we would
yeah.
yeah,
cook for
So
friends and they would be like, I thought you were
right?
vegan.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, this is how this started because people wanted the recipes and we started
Yeah.
talking about it. And basically,
Yeah.
we never set out to make a podcast. That's kind of what happened accidentally.
Nice.
Congratulations.
It was meant to be. Yeah.
Yes,
Awesome.
yeah. So what else are you doing? You do some courses with people, I believe.
Yes, so I consult. So I professionally am a trained chef, classically trained. But I decided after we started having kids that I wanted to not be in the restaurant business in terms of having to show up to a physical restaurant every day
Yeah,
because my schedule, I was working 14, 16 hours a day, 5 days a week. And
yeah,
with a brand new baby, it's not the best situation. So I decided I wanted to consult where I could still be in the business, but touch and go, pick my schedule kind of
yeah.
thing and just, do a project for 2, 3 months, then come back home, still be with the family kind of thing. So I consult um, I help people open up restaurants in hotels, standalone brick and mortar restaurants. I also help people create recipes, standardize their systems. I'm working with a vegan um, breakfast spot right now in Atlanta where they only do pancakes and just amazing breakfast foods.
Mhm.
So I'm helping them with their systems. So I do things like that. Then I do webinars and seminars where I just help people be more plant-based, introduce them to what it looks like to just create recipes, dishes.
Mhm.
Um, I help people launch their own spice line, just to show them the ropes of how to do that. So hospitality, you know, pretty much what encompasses that is basically where I do, but I do it from a consulting point of view. So I'm not there every single day.
Yeah, sounds great. Perfect.
Yeah,
And
it
sitting
is.
next to you is the wig maker.
Ah,
Yes,
yes.
the famous wig maker.
No, famous. Yeah, right.
So tell us what you do, Jane, and how it's sort of kind of, I mean, we've only got a couple of minutes, but yeah, just give us an outline of what you do.
I'm a wig maker and I've been making wigs now for about 15 years. Chef and I started a business about 15 years ago, and the business has been great. It has allowed us to quit our full-time 9 to 5 jobs. I was with the company for 13 years. He was with your company for 9 years, and we're able to stop working to focus on Virgin. And it's been an amazing ride. So yes.
Wow. Cool. Well, obviously, we'll put links in our podcasts and our website to all of this that we've talked about. So any of the, things that you've mentioned there, so people can find out how to get hold of you and get in touch. But I mean, that's an amazing portfolio of things that you do, and it's just fascinating to
Thank
talk
you.
to you. Thank you.
And
Thank you so much.
the website is,
So there's Knife and Spoon, which is our spices cookbook apron website. And then we have the Virgin Hair Fantasy, which is our hair business, beauty business. And then we have a third company that we started, which is all digital, and that's the Chef and the Wig Maker. And on that website, we basically help entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
better their business, given resources, access to vendors.
Pretty much everything we've acquired in 15 years. Just like here,
Wow.
use that.
Yeah,
Because there's no point
Amazing.
in
brilliant.
storing it in our heads. Like here,
yeah,
save
Oh,
you a few bucks so you don't make the mistakes that we made.
yeah.
yeah. No, that's fascinating. Thank you. Well,
Thank
I'm
you so
certainly going to have
much.
a look as well. So, yeah, it's been
It's
really
really
great
good.
talking to you. Thank you.
Nice talking to you, and keep doing what you do. You're so needed in our community.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank
Oh,
you so
bless
much.
Thank
you.
you.
good
Thank
job.
you. You guys
Yeah.
too. All
Thank
right.
you so
Thank
much for
you.
having us.
Thank
You
you.
guys
Thank you
are
very
fantastic.
much. You
Bye.
take care.
Bye.
I appreciate you guys.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. And if you have enjoyed this podcast, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from. If you'd like to be featured on the show or to send us any comments, please email behealthy@govegan.online. See you soon.